YouTube, it's your boy the D here, aka the captain of the Thunder God Pirates, with today's One Piece chapter review. Pretty good chapter today, if I do say so myself. Very interesting, muy interesante. But yes, I'm gonna go ahead and get right into it. But prior to that, thank you so much to everybody who's listening, everybody who is subscribed. I really appreciate it. And I also wanted to go into my other socials because, as you know, in the links of in the description of my videos, I do keep my Linktree where my other socials are. If you do have any interest in me gaming, I do stream multiple times a week. At the_D_20. Twitch. That's twitch.tv/the_D_20. I'm also pretty active on Twitter at darkspade09. Should have it on the screen. That's capital D, lowercase ARK, capital S, lowercase PADE09. Also have my stream dump YouTube, the_D20. Gotta do something with that. But I'm a variety streamer. Also, I stream a whole bunch of games. Currently streaming my 100% run of Super Mario Galaxy, also streaming No More Heroes, and also streaming my first playthrough of Final Fantasy X. So if you wanna tune into that, I greatly appreciate it, and it's more of a chance for you to interact with me. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get right into the chapter review. All right, One Piece, chapter 1003, Night on the Board. Okay, the chapter opens up exactly where the last one left off. Luffy had gone gear forth and hit Kaido with the Kong gun. And it's here that we see Kaido getting the dog crap beaten out of him. And he's getting hit in the face, chest, all over. And we see Law and Killer watching from afar. Well, Law, Killer, and Zoro, excuse me. They're watching from afar, and they're just watching. There's really nothing to kind of like nuance about this. They're just watching Kaido get wrecked. Like, that's all they're seeing. It's punch after punch after multiple punch and punch some more. Like, and even Big Mom is floored. Like, oh my god, he's not, like, because she knows, okay, he was able to hurt Kaido earlier and he's hitting him a bunch, so all this is doing damage. But in the middle of all this, we see Luffy and we see him start to huff and huff. And there's a break in his, good lord. And there's a break. I'm sorry, like, I'm going over the chapter as I'm explaining it to y'all, and this shit is ridiculous. But yeah, like, there's a break in the flurry, and Luffy reels back for one more punch, and he hits Kaido in the side of the head and sends his face into Onigashima. And then we pan out to see Onigashima from afar, and you see that impact, like that explosion from Kaido's face hitting the mountain. And even Kid's just like, and we see in a little panel with Kid, he's just like, oh my god, this kid, like, because you gotta remember, this whole time Kid's been thinking like, okay, we're about even keel. But when this all started, you know, Jinbei joined Straw, he's like, damn, they got another heavy hitter, and now he's seeing what Luffy himself is capable of. It's just like, damn, what is this kid on? And then we see the aftermath. Big Mom's still floating in the air on Zeus, and Luffy's kind of, you know, geppoing towards Kaido. And Kaido's just laying there in the wreckage, just getting it. He's not down and out. You can tell all this is hurting him, but he's not like just floored to the point of being defeated. You know, he's just kind of sitting there like, damn, I really just took all that. But surprisingly, well, not surprisingly, but we thought Luffy had gotten over his exhaustion when using Gear 4, because he's been using it not all night, but he's been using it sporadically, you know, going in and out of it with no problem. But even here, we see finally, you know, his bubble bursts, and even Zoro's surprised, and Zoro and Law are surprised, and Luffy goes flying, you know, yet again, it's like a balloon popping. And then we see Kid, he's like, wait a minute, I didn't see him hit him. What happened? When did he have time to strike back? And that's when Law says, you know, it's a side effect of the technique. And I didn't think Law knew. I knew Law was around when Gear 4 was being used, but I didn't think he saw the part where, you know, Luffy actually lost the ability to use Gear 4 in the middle of the battle when fighting Dofi. But he's like, yeah, you know, it's a side effect. He's gonna be down and out for about 10 minutes, so we have to, you know, protect until then. So Kid's like, okay, so the strength, you know, it has a downside. But he's like, but yet again, Kid being, you know, the unexpected optimist in all this, he's like, okay, so, but still, if all those punches did damage, you know, I think, you know, he's cut off. He's like, okay, you know, I think he's like, okay, we're in a good spot. We've been comboing this entire time, and we've actually been able to do damage. So, okay, we're looking up. It's like a boss battle, because I've been playing Octopath Traveler. Finally got it a couple months ago and started playing it. I'm at a boss battle. It's like, okay, you know, get to a groove. You know, get further in the fight. You're like, okay, everything's going good. You know, you're not exactly beating the boss's ass, but you've gotten into a rhythm. So I guess they're like kind of sticking to that rhythm. Like, okay, you know, we're at a good spot. But then Big Mom, you know, not one to be forgotten. You know, she's laughing, mama, 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 mama. And she comments like, oh, so you're spent already? That was quite a demonstration. But then she unleashes another one of her attacks from the fused Prometheus and Napoleon. Happy Mother's Blaze. And she brings her sword down. Well, she attempts to bring her sword down on Luffy, but luckily Zoro, kind of knowing what's going on, like, okay, you know, he's able to rush in and help Luffy and get him out of the way of the attack. And then Kid, I'm telling you, I'm gonna keep getting them confused. Kid's still in his scrap mech, you know, like, okay, come on, let's keep up the pressure with Kaido. And then he's like, hand straw hat over, and, you know, Killer responds, you know, hey, got it. So I'm kind of wondering what he wants Luffy for, because he's not gonna kill him. Even if he does want to one day, you know, still take Luffy out, now is not the time for that vendetta. So then Law, he uses, because yet again, they're still in a gigantic room, so he's warping around. So he warps over to Big Mom and counter shocks, which, you know, sends an electric current throughout her entire body. Then Kid, with his mech, goes over to Kaido. And, you know, thinking Kaido, well, as Kaido's getting up, so he's thinking like, okay, he's dazed, I can go ahead and get a hit in. But Kaido quickly, like, he has his back turned to Kid at first, but he quickly turns around and is like, oh, you thought I was just gonna let that happen. So then Kid's surprised because Kaido starts to use a technique. And it's then that we see Kaido start to curl his body, and part of the scrap mech is destroyed and blown back. And Kaido unleashes another one of his attacks, Dragon Twister. Which, when I was seeing this, it kind of reminded me of the move Twister from Pokemon. You know how dragon types will create a little tornado, dragon type damage. I think it's like 40 power. It sounds cool, but it's really nothing special. But still, pretty cool. We're getting more name techniques from Kaido. And quick sidebar. Recently, earlier this week, I didn't cover this one yet again. I didn't get the information in time and wasn't able to make a video. Well, I could have probably made a video, but that's not the point. Anyway, in the SBS, Oda actually has revealed Kaido's Devil Fruit's full name. Because the only mention that we've got of it has been right when Luffy and them were getting up there. I think right before, when Big Mom was talking to Kaido. I think it was in chapter 999 too. She was like, you know, hey, I gave you the legendary model of the Uo Uo no Mi, the fish fruit. But in the SBS, Oda finally gave Kaido's fruit a full name. The Uo Uo no Mi Seiryu Daibutsu. It's the Blue Eastern Dragon. So yeah, and we're starting to figure out Kaido's powers. He has weather control powers. That wasn't stated in the SBS, but from what we've been seeing, you know, Kaido has like dragon breath, weather control powers, and it looks like it's more than just like a basic fruit. So Zoro, and I know like they switched to say Zolo in the official Viz translation, but I'm still saying Zoro. That's what his name's supposed to be. I don't mind Zolo, like I don't really care, but I'm used to it at this point. But anyway, so he's looking on at this like there are multiple tornadoes and they are kind of big, blowing everything away. So Luffy's like, you know, today's like, oh, thanks, Zoro. And then Zoro's just looking like, are you fucking kidding me? He can do this now. So eventually they get caught in one of the tornadoes, and it blows them apart. And then Kaido then goes over to Luffy and then proceeds to chomp on him. So Zoro quickly is like, okay, I can't let this, like, it's bad enough Luffy got caught in his jaws. I can't let this motherfucker start chewing. So he goes on and he pours a shit ton of haki into his right sword, which is Enma. And he goes on 3-sword style. And even then, as he's preparing the attack, he doesn't just immediately use it. It's like he's kind of like charging. It's like like in any like action game, like when you have light hits and heavy hits, he's charging the hits. So he's like holding it for a second, charging up the haki in his blade, and it's even causing the blade to emanate like a blackish aura, you know, like he's pouring haki into it. And then like a dragon, like a visage of a dragon appears around his arm and kind of is like flowing. So Kaido then looks and finally is like, okay, so the sword, he's finally noticed after almost getting hit by it last chapter. Okay, that sword is the reason. That sword is the source of that strange haki. And then Zoro unleashes one of his new moves, Black Rope Dragon Twister, which connects, unlike that the Purgatory Onigiri from last chapter, and it cuts Kaido, causing him to spit out Luffy. And even Killer notices he cut the scales, and yet again Luffy comes flying out. And Big Mom is like, okay, she's still floating over. It's kind of like she's been dipping in and out as, you know, the fight's going on. And she's like, okay, he actually cut Kaido. And Kaido, like, as he's reeling from the attack, he's like, okay, that hurt. And he finally comes to the realization, that's Odin's sword. Because yet again, he's seen these swords before. He fought Odin before. He's seen these blades. So it's kind of like, okay, that's why. So, you know, everything's starting to click for him now. Like, okay, that's Odin's sword. That's why I'm getting hurt. This needs to end. But Kaido is still a little petty because he's like, oh, you dare challenge me to a Dragon Twister competition. As he laughs, curls up his body, and then he unleashes a powered up version of Dragon Twister. Dragon Twister, Demolition Breath. And it's like, not only is he using the Dragon Twister, but he's also sending out the vacuum blades from that breath attack that he used. I can't remember the name off the top of my head, but he's sending out those blades, spinning, and it's looking like he's even from his mouth he's summoning lightning as well. So we see everybody like kind of tanking the hits. At least Kid's tanking. Law, yet again, giant room. He's teleporting around him, and Zoro actually has to go get Luffy because Luffy can't move. And Killer is actually using the Punisher blades to knock them away, and that saves him. And even below, you know, we're still seeing rubble and stuff fly and fall through the Golden Hall. And then we pan to a battle of the samurai versus the beast down below, and it's here we hear a voice speak. The battle above is so fierce, the rubble just keeps raining down. Good grief. First, our business partner dies. Pause. Like, full stop. And in this panel, we see Orochi's head. So either the Yamato no Orochi fruit, you know, he just leaves the head behind. Or I think this kind of like confirms it, like cements it in stone. Orochi is dead. Yet again, it could be a fake. Well, not like a fake, or it could be like a fake out, a red herring. This could be just be Oda fucking with us. But the cipher poll. Okay, I'm just gonna go ahead and kind of jump ahead a little bit. It's the cipher poll Aegis Zero talking, and I think they're smart enough to check, or they know, or they like check, like, okay, is he dead, or, you know, what the fuck's going on? But anyway, we then see a hand placing pieces on a shogi board. He says, then the party we were invited to turns into a battlefield. It would seem this is a battle for revenge 20 years in the making, but with Doflamingo out of the picture, Kaido and the worst generation were bound to clash at some point. And as we're seeing this, we're seeing a couple of the women, presumably underlings of Black Maria, or just chicks who were brought with Orochi, you know, in the doorway just looking on. And we see, you know, yet again, this hand placing these white and black pieces on the shogi board. And it's then that we see his face. We don't know who this is. It's just a face that we've seen a few times from the Aegis Zero. So it would seem that destiny ordained that samurai and pirates would join hands like this. And then we see all of them in the, yet again, I don't know where this is, but just in a random room with Bawa or Baihu or whatever her name is. The little messenger girl who had the, I think she had the squirrel smile or somebody like her. I don't think it's her. I think it's somebody like her who's holding Shimasen, the little Japanese guitar-like banjo thingy. Yeah, she's in there with them. It's here we see the guy with the polka dot scarf and the mask with the scar under the eye. Some big dude. I don't think we've ever seen him before. He's got like really jagged hair, and like his mask is attached to a handle to keep it over his face. And then we see somebody else who we've seen, the guy with the really weird shoulders who look like he's slouching. And so we see like the Cypher Pole Aegis Zero, and there's even, like I said, there's a chick with the eye cloth over her face. Then there's another, presumably geisha. And he says, at this moment, when the state of the world hangs in the balance, if by some chance 2 of the 4 emperors should fall, there would be no telling what might happen to the world next. But this is an unnecessary concern. Well, this is all 3 of them speaking. So the chick with the eye cloth and the Shimasen, she then goes on to say that the enemy who infiltrated Onigashima are about 5,500, but 5,400, excuse me, but 400 of them have already fallen. But then she goes on to state that otherwise on the other side, they've got 30,000, but, well, over 30,000, but they've lost about 3,000. Then the guy in the weird mask, well, the guy with the lines on his face, he says, the guy who's like shrugging and slouching, he's like, okay, well, samurai had a good start. Then one of them goes on to say that the difference is so unorthodox. Well, the difference is so great that a regular attack, or an orthodox attack, would have done them no good. They wouldn't have even seen Kaido and Big Mom. So their sneak attack worked brilliantly. But he even goes on to say, but just killing the leaders isn't going to end the fight. He says that they're on an island and there's no escape. So this is going to be an all-out battle. He then goes on to say they're kind of analyzing the battle here. They're kind of just like, okay, no matter how this ends, nobody's touching us. Like, even if somebody didn't want to, we can escape. So they really don't care. So they're just like, okay, so they pretty much is like, okay, we're not helping anybody. We're just chilling. We're just here to see the outcome. So as they're doing that, they're saying, okay, if Kaido's officers were to be left to their own devices, they're going to each take out about 100 people, maybe more. And then he says that if the new generation can't stop the officers, the black pieces are just going to run amok and just going to wipe out the opposing white pieces. And on the board, it's here that we see that there are 5 white pieces and 27 black pieces. 32 pieces are over. 32 pieces in all. Now, the 5 white pieces are each supposed to represent 5,000 people, and the 27 white pieces are supposed to represent 27,000 people. So he says that the battle currently there isn't a doubt how the battle's going to end. So why? So it's like he kind of like muses to himself. He asks like, okay, guys, if you could please take each other out, that'd be great. So it's kind of insinuating that maybe the world government, wants to kind of interfere here and, kind of have their own plan be the winner of the day. So it's then we go back up to the flower capital. Well, not the flower capital, excuse me, the dome of Onigashima on top of the skull. And everybody's standing around. And then Kid, with this really intense look on his face, he asks, why does he look like that? Luffy is kind of still like, yet again, he's dazed. We don't know how long it's been since we, were down here. Well, so since we're down in the festival hall, so we don't know what's happened, how long it's been, what's going on. But yes, he asks. So Luffy kind of dazed like, Kaido? And then Law, yet again, another intense, look on his face. He's saying, but he's kind of asking. his Beastman form. And then we see Kaido. Well, we don't see Kaido. We see his hand, his left hand with his Bagua. Well, his Konombo, that's what's called. His club in his hand. But he has long nails and it's like a dragon-like hand. He said he's shrouded by dust from the impacts of all the attacks. He says this is fun. As he's laughing beyond the dust, presumably in his hybrid form. Because as we know, Zoan users. I hate people say Zoan. Zoan users have 3 forms. They have their regular human form. They have a hybrid form, which they can transform partially, and then they have their full dragon. We've seen Kaido's human. We've seen his dragon, but we haven't seen his hybrid until now. We don't really see it. Like I said, we see him, but he's obscured by dust. We don't see his features. The only thing that we see that's not obscured by the dust is his left hand, and even only part of it. And then along with him, he's laughing like this is fun. I'm having a blast. And then Big Mom, yet again, she's laughing on top of Zeus. I was just thinking the same thing. And yet again, this is why I brought up the Octopath Traveler boss fight analogy earlier. You got your team, you're doing damage, you're hitting them with everything that you have. And you're doing damage, that much is clear. But at the same token in time, you're doing damage, but proportional to their health, you haven't really done a lot. So it's now that we're seeing that, this battle is going to be a lot harder than they thought. And yet again, Big Mom and Kaido who's been taking damage, because Big Mom, I don't think she's really gotten hit yet, but Kaido's been taking blow after blow after blow after blow after blow. He's chilling. He's like, man, this is fun. I like this. I haven't been pressed like this in a long time. So yeah, but that concludes the chapter. It's a 2v5 against Yonko. Well, it's a 2v5 against the Yonko, and even after everything that they've seen thus far, they're having fun with this shit. So, and I'm glad it kind of took this turn, because yet again, last time, especially after Luffy tanked that Boro breath, it was like, man. So they're just gonna steamroll to Yonko, but now we're starting to see these two didn't get to be emperors of the sea for nothing. And even then, because a couple weeks ago, I think we got the chapters. Well, the 957 was finally animated into the anime, and even then, we got to remember, brand new in Sengoku, when they were talking, they even said Kaido and Big Mom are way stronger than they were back then, and now we're really starting to see it, that they have come a long way, and they are not to be trifled with. So, if anybody was wondering, man, the Yonko are underwhelming, might want to quit that, bruh. Because yet again, and some people might ask, why didn't Kaido just use this from jump? You forget, he's a king. Why? He didn't think he'd need this. And on top of that, if he could win not going all out, that's what you want to do. You don't want to go all out if you don't have to. It's also a pride thing. It's like, I'm not going to use every trick in the book until I absolutely need to. So yeah, anybody who was thinking that the Yonko were pushovers, not gonna be the case. But that concludes the chapter. I'm excited to see Kaido's hybrid form, because in the anime we actually saw him transform into his dragon. So I think for anime watchers we kind of saw, but yet again they could change things around, blah 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 blah. But yeah, we're really getting into the meat and potatoes of this fight. We're finally in that. Okay, y'all, you had your fun. But now it's over. Now the hill begins. But anyway, that's gonna conclude this week's chapter. Very good chapter. Definitely liked what I saw. But tell me what you think in the comment section down below. Tell me what you thought. Do you think it's a good chapter, bad chapter? Let me know what you thought. And that's gonna conclude this video. For everybody who's made it this far, thank you so much. I greatly appreciate you. Like, comment, subscribe, and remember to have a wonderful day. Peace.